The living room was quiet in the way early afternoons usually were. Sunlight spilling across the carpet, a faint hum from the refrigerator in the kitchen. Emma folded laundry on the couch while Milo, their old golden retriever, lay near the window, chin on his paws, watching dust float in the light. A beige hat rested on the chair by the door, forgotten there after a rushed morning. Milo stood up. At first it seemed ordinary, just a slow stretch of stiff legs. But then he walked to the chair and placed himself directly in front of it, blocking the hat with his body. His tail didn't wag. His ears tilted forward. A low whine slipped from his throat. "Hey buddy," Emma said softly, smiling. "What is it?" Milo didn't look at her. He stared at the hat. When she reached to move it, his body tensed. He stepped closer, pressing his chest against the chair leg. A short bark escaped him, sharp warning, nothing like his usual gentle voice. Emma's smile faded. A chill crept up her arms. Milo had never guarded anything before. He didn't growl. He didn't bite. He just stood there, trembling slightly, eyes fixed on that plain, worn hat as if it were something precious or dangerous. Her heart began to thud faster. She knelt, trying to soothe him, but Milo didn't budge. His breathing quickened. Another whine, almost pleading. "What are you trying to tell me?" she whispered. The room felt different now, smaller, tighter, as if the air itself was holding its breath. Emma slowly drew her hand back, leaving the hat where it was. Milo finally looked at her then, and in his eyes was something she had never seen before. But what the dog sensed was far from ordinary. Before we continue, remember to like, share and subscribe for more heart-touching dog stories. And tell me, where are you watching from? The house was resting. Not sleeping, just resting. Sunlight slid through the living room window in thin gold stripes and settled across the carpet. Dust floated lazily in the warm air. Somewhere in the kitchen, the refrigerator hummed in its steady, familiar rhythm. Emma sat on the couch with a basket of laundry at her feet. She folded slowly. A blue shirt, a pair of socks, a towel still faintly scented with soap. It was one of those afternoons that didn't feel important while it was happening. The kind you forget until something changes. Milo lay near the window. His body curved into the sunlight like he belonged there. His fur glowed softly at the edges. His chest rose and fell in an easy, peaceful rhythm. Outside, a car passed. Milo's ears twitched once, then settled. A beige hat rested on the chair by the front door. It had been dropped there that morning, forgotten in the rush of backpacks and keys and half-drunk coffee cups. It wasn't fancy, just an old felt hat with a soft crease down the middle and a faint bend in the brim. Emma barely noticed it. She reached for another shirt. Milo lifted his head. Not fast, not alarmed, just aware. His eyes moved to the chair. He didn't bark. He didn't whine. He stood up. Slowly. His joints made a quiet sound as he stretched, a gentle groan of age, and then he walked toward the door. His paws made soft taps against the floor. Tap, tap, tap. Emma smiled without looking. "Bathroom break already," she said lightly. Milo didn't go to the door. He stopped in front of the chair and stayed there, his body lined up with it, blocking it. Emma glanced up. Milo. His tail didn't wag. His ears tilted forward just a little. He stared at the hat. Emma tilted her head. "What is it, buddy?" Milo leaned closer to the chair, not touching it, not sniffing it, just standing guard. A faint sound came from his throat, not a growl, not quite a whine. Something in between. Emma's fingers paused on the shirt. She studied him. Milo had never guarded anything before. Not food. Not toys. Not even bones. He had always been the kind of dog who stepped aside, who let people take things from his mouth without protest, who trusted hands near his face. She stood up. The floor creaked under her foot. Milo didn't move. She took one step closer. "Milo, it's just a hat." His ears twitched. His body stiffened. Not rigid, just braced. She reached for the brim. Milo shifted sideways, blocking her hand. A short bark slipped out. Sharp, startled, surprised them both. Emma froze. Milo. He didn't growl. He didn't bare his teeth. He just pressed his chest against the chair leg and lowered his head. Protective. Trembling. His breathing grew faster. She pulled her hand back. Her heart thumped once hard. "What's wrong?" she whispered. The room felt different now. Smaller. The quiet seemed louder. The refrigerator hummed. Outside a bird called. Milo didn't look away from the hat. His eyes were dark and wide. There was something in them Emma had never seen before. Not fear. Not anger. Something deeper. Something old. She knelt down. Slowly. "Milo, hey, it's okay." She held her hands open. He finally looked at her. Just for a second. And in that glance there was worry. Not for himself. For the chair. For what was on it. Another soft sound escaped him. A pleading note. Emma's throat tightened. "You don't like it," she murmured. Milo looked back at the hat. Then back at her. Then back at the hat again. As if pointing without moving. Her skin prickled. She straightened slowly and stepped back. She left the hat where it was. Milo didn't relax. He stayed in place. Standing guard. Like it mattered. Like it meant something. She called out toward the hallway. "Jake." Footsteps approached. Jake appeared in the doorway, holding his phone. "What?" "Milo's acting weird." Milo didn't turn. "He won't let me touch the hat." Jake blinked. "The hat." He stepped closer. Milo barked again. Not loud. Not angry. Just firm. Jake stopped. "Well, that's new." Emma folded her arms around herself. "I think he's scared." Jake frowned. "Of a hat." Milo lowered himself slightly, like he was bracing for something that hadn't happened yet. His tail stayed still. His ears stayed forward. His nose twitched barely. The air felt tight. Like something unseen had entered the room. Emma swallowed. "Let's just leave it," she said. "For now." Jake hesitated. Then nodded. They backed away together. Milo didn't move. Not when Emma returned to the couch. Not when Jake sat down beside her. Not when the afternoon sun shifted across the floor. He stayed in front of the chair. Guarding. Watching. Listening. As if the hat carried a sound only he could hear. As if it held a memory he couldn't let go of. Emma watched him from across the room. Her chest felt heavy. A quiet thought crept into her mind. What if this wasn't about the hat? What if it was about what the hat remembered? She hugged her knees. The house stayed quiet. The hat stayed on the chair. And Milo stood between them, waiting. Because somewhere inside him something had stirred. And it would not be ignored. The next morning came in quietly. Gray light slipped through the kitchen window. The coffee maker clicked on. The house stirred in slow pieces. Milo was already awake. He sat in the hallway facing the living room, facing the chair. The hat was still there. Emma noticed him first. He hadn't moved during the night. Not to his bed. Not to the couch. Not even toward the kitchen when the smell of coffee drifted through the house. His posture was calm but fixed. Like a statue guarding something fragile. "Milo," she said softly. His ears lifted. But his eyes stayed on the chair. She stepped closer. His body shifted slightly, not forward, not back, just enough to keep himself between her and the hat. Jake came out of the bedroom rubbing his eyes. "He's still doing that?" Emma nodded. "All night." Jake squinted at the chair. It looked harmless in the morning light. Just a beige felt hat. No stains. No damage. No reason to matter. "I think he's just stuck on it," Jake said. Like when he wouldn't stop staring at the vacuum. Emma didn't answer. She watched Milo's breathing. Steady. Controlled. Not panicked. Alert. Like he was waiting for a signal only he could hear. She tried a different approach. "Milo, breakfast?" His ears flicked. His tail didn't move. Normally that word would have sent him skidding across the floor. Today nothing. She poured kibble into his bowl. The sound echoed. Still nothing. Her stomach tightened. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, we'll do this slow." She walked toward the chair. Step by step. Milo didn't bark this time. He didn't whine. He just leaned forward. And blocked her path. Not touching her. Just placing his body where hers wanted to go. Emma stopped. His fur brushed her leg. It felt warm. Alive. Steady. Milo, she said gently. What is it? His nose lifted slightly. He sniffed the air around the hat. Not the hat itself. The space around it. As if the scent wasn't on the felt, but trapped in the air near it. Emma crouched. She followed his gaze. The hat looked smaller up close. Older. The brim was softened with wear. The inside band was darkened from sweat and time. Did someone bring this in? She murmured. Jake shrugged. Maybe my dad left it last week? She shook her head. He doesn't wear hats like this. Milo made a quiet sound. Not loud. Not sharp. Just a breath of worry. Emma sat on the floor beside him. She didn't touch the hat. She touched him. His fur felt coarse under her fingers. He leaned into her hand for just a moment, then leaned back toward the chair. Guarding again. The house felt off balance. Like one object was in the wrong place. And Milo knew it. By noon the kids noticed. Why is Milo doing that? Lily asked from the doorway. He's babysitting the chair, Noah added. Emma tried to laugh. Something like that. Lily approached with a cracker. Milo want a snack? He didn't turn. Noah stepped closer. Milo finally looked at him. Just once. A slow glance. Then back to the chair. No growl. No warning. Just a quiet message. Don't. Emma stood quickly. Hey, give him space. The kids backed up. What's in the hat? Lily asked. I don't know. Jake sighed. I'll move it. This is ridiculous. He stepped forward. Milo barked. Louder this time. Not angry. Urgent. Jake stopped. Okay, he said, hands raised. Message received. Emma swallowed. Jake. I think something's wrong. With him. No, with the hat. Jake rubbed his neck. It's just fabric. Milo's ears tilted again. His eyes sharpened. A sound came from outside. A truck passing. Milo's head lifted slightly, then lowered again. Back to the hat. Like it anchored him. Emma noticed something then. A smell. Faint. Not bad. Not good. Just old. Like rain on concrete. Like a place that hadn't seen sunlight in a long time. She knelt again. She leaned closer to the hat. Not touching. Just breathing. Her chest tightened. It smelled like a hospital. Like cleaning chemicals and something human underneath. A place where people wait. Place where people leave things behind. Her fingers curled. Milo, did you know this? He didn't move. But his eyes softened. Just a little. As if she had asked the right question. Emma's heart thudded. Someone wore this, she said quietly. Jake frowned. So what? So, maybe he remembers them. Jake stared at the hat. Then at Milo. You think he knew whoever owned this? Milo's tail lifted barely. Not a wag. Just a twitch. Emma pressed her lips together. Milo didn't come from a puppy breeder, she said. We got him from that rescue shelter. Jake nodded. 6 years ago. And they said he was found near the highway. Silence settled between them. Milo's breathing slowed. He sat down now. Still in front of the chair. Still guarding. But calmer. As if the conversation itself had soothed him. Lily whispered. Was he sad before he came here? Emma's chest ached. I think so. Noah looked at Milo. He looks like he's waiting for someone. The words landed softly. But they stayed. Emma watched Milo's face. His eyes weren't scared. They weren't angry. They were focused. Like he was holding on to something important. Something unfinished. The hat didn't belong in their house. They could all feel it now. It wasn't just a forgotten object. It was a piece of somewhere else. Somewhere Milo had been before. Somewhere he hadn't wanted to leave. Emma stood. We're not touching it today, she said. Not until we understand. Jake hesitated. Then nodded. All right. Milo let out a slow breath. Like he had been waiting for permission to relax. But he didn't leave his spot. Not yet. He stayed close. Just in case. Because whatever that hat carried, it wasn't done speaking. And Milo was listening. By the third day, the house had adjusted around the chair. Not consciously. Not on purpose. Just happened. The path from the hallway curved wider. Shoes piled up on the opposite side of the door. No one sat in that chair anymore. And Milo stayed. Not standing now. Sitting. Right in front of it. His body rested on one hip. His tail lay flat along the floor. His ears stayed angled forward, alert but not tense. Like a guard who hadn't slept but wouldn't leave. Emma tried to pretend it was temporary. A phase. A strange habit. But habits didn't skip meals. Milo had eaten only half his breakfast that morning. And none of his dinner the night before. She knelt beside him with his bowl. Milo, come on, sweetheart. She nudged it closer. He glanced at it. Then back at the hat. His nose twitched once. He swallowed. Didn't move. Jake sighed from the kitchen. He's being stubborn. Emma didn't answer. She watched the way Milo's jaw stayed tight. Not clenched. Held. Like he was keeping something in. Something heavy. I'll just move it, Jake said suddenly. Emma looked up. Jake. It's a hat. We're letting a dog run the house over a hat. Milo's ears flicked. Jake took 2 steps toward the chair. Milo stood. Slowly. No bark. No growl. Just up. His body angled sideways. Blocking. Jake stopped again. Buddy, it's okay. Milo's head lowered. Not threatening. Not afraid. Protective. Emma stood quickly. Please don't. Jake exhaled. You think it's dangerous? No, she said. I think it's important. To who? She didn't answer. Because she didn't know. Because knowing would make it real. The kids watched from the hallway. Lily hugged her stuffed rabbit. Is Milo mad? No, Emma said softly. He's worried. About what? Emma looked at the hat. I don't know. Jake rubbed his face. This is ridiculous. He reached for the brim. Milo barked. Sharp. Once. The sound cracked through the room like a dropped plate. Everyone froze. Milo's bark echoed in the sudden silence. He didn't move closer. He didn't bare his teeth. But his eyes widened. And his body leaned forward. Jake lifted his hands. Okay. Okay. Emma's heart raced. Milo, it's okay. She stepped between them. Milo relaxed slightly when she did. His shoulders lowered. His bark had been a warning. Not a threat. Not anger. Urgency. That night Emma couldn't sleep. The house felt different in the dark. The chair sat in shadow. The hat barely visible. Milo lay on the floor beside it. Not curled. Not sprawled. Just there. Watching. She lay in bed listening to his breathing from the hallway. Slow. Measured. Like he was staying awake on purpose. She whispered into the dark. What are you guarding? Milo didn't answer. But his breathing changed. Just slightly. The next morning, Emma decided to clean the house. Not around the hat. Through the house. She vacuumed. She wiped counters. She opened windows. Fresh air rolled in cool and bright. The hat stayed where it was. She carried a basket of towels past Milo. He shifted his weight to keep the chair in view. You don't trust us, she murmured. His eyes flicked to her face. Then back to the hat. Like trust wasn't the point. The doorbell rang. Milo flinched. Just once. Emma opened the door to find Mrs. Alvarez from next door holding a small package. Delivery got mixed up, she said. Thought this was yours. Thank you, Emma smiled. Mrs. Alvarez's gaze moved past her. To the chair. To Milo. Oh, she said. Your dog is very serious today. Emma laughed weakly. He's guarding something. Mrs. Alvarez stepped inside a little. What's in the chair? A hat. Mrs. Alvarez tilted her head. That one. Emma nodded. Mrs. Alvarez's eyes narrowed. Not suspicious. Thoughtful. That doesn't look like yours. No, Emma said. It smells like a hospital, Mrs. Alvarez added casually. Emma blinked. You smell that too? Mrs. Alvarez nodded. Old building smell. Cleaning stuff. Sad places smell like that. Emma swallowed. Milo made a soft sound. A low breath. Mrs. Alvarez looked at him. He's protecting someone, she said. Or something. Emma felt a chill. From what? Mrs. Alvarez shrugged. From being forgotten. The words lingered after she left. Jake tried again that afternoon. Not to move the hat. To distract Milo. He tossed a tennis ball. Milo didn't chase it. He set down a chew toy. Milo sniffed it, then turned back to the chair. He lay down, facing it, like he had finally chosen stillness. That night, the kids whispered from their room. "Do you think Milo used to belong to someone else?" Lily asked. "Everyone belongs to someone," Noah said. Emma heard them through the wall. Her chest ached. She thought about the shelter, the form they had signed, found near the highway. No history, no name, no story, just dog. She walked into the living room and sat on the floor near Milo. Not too close, not too far. "Were you waiting for someone?" she asked softly. Milo didn't move, but his ears angled back, just a little. She touched his shoulder. He leaned into her hand, then leaned back toward the chair again, split between two worlds. Her throat tightened. "We won't throw it away," she whispered. Milo exhaled. Long, slow, but he didn't relax, because the warning hadn't worked. They had seen it, they had heard it, and they still didn't understand it. And somewhere inside Milo, the instinct remained. Something wasn't finished. Something wasn't safe. And if they wouldn't listen, he would keep trying, even if it cost him his rest, even if it cost him his appetite, even if it cost him his peace, because whatever that hat meant, it mattered more than comfort, and Milo knew it. By the 5th day, Milo had stopped pretending. He no longer shifted when people walked by. He no longer followed Emma into the kitchen. He no longer slept curled at the foot of the couch. He stayed in front of the chair. Morning light found him there. Evening shadows wrapped around him there. Night settled and he stayed. His body had chosen a place, and it would not leave. Emma noticed the weight loss first. Not dramatic, just subtle. His collar seemed looser. His ribs felt closer to the surface when she brushed him. His eyes stayed bright but tired. "Milo," she whispered one morning, setting his bowl down beside him. "Please." He sniffed the food, then turned his head back toward the hat. Emma's throat tightened. "You're hurting yourself." Milo didn't look at her. His ears flicked once, a small acknowledgement, then stillness. Jake tried again with his leash. "Come on, old man. Walk time." Milo's tail lifted slightly, then fell. Jake clipped the leash on. Milo stood. Relief rushed through Emma's chest. Then he sat back down, exactly where he had been. The leash went taut. Milo didn't pull. He didn't resist. He just anchored himself. Like a tree. Jake let go slowly. "Okay." The house grew quiet around him. The kids whispered when they passed. Lily left a glass of water near him. Noah slid a blanket halfway under his chest. Milo didn't notice. He didn't shift. His gaze never left the chair. Emma sat on the floor beside him, not touching, just close enough to feel his warmth. She followed his line of sight. The hat looked ordinary, more ordinary than ever, which somehow made it worse. "What are you holding on to?" she murmured. Milo's breathing slowed when she spoke, like her voice made it easier, like he wasn't alone with it anymore. That afternoon, Emma called the vet. "Behavior change?" Dr. Patel asked. "Yes. He won't move from one spot." "Any pain?" "No." "Any aggression?" "No." "Eating?" "Barely." A pause. "Could be anxiety," the vet said. "Triggered by something new." Emma looked at the chair. "At something old," she whispered. Dr. Patel suggested a visit. Jake loaded the car. They tried to coax Milo. They tried treats. They tried calling his name. They tried lifting him gently. Milo stood when they touched him. But the moment they guided him away, he pulled back. Not violently. Desperately. A low sound vibrated in his chest. Not a growl. A plea. Emma stopped. "Don't." Jake hesitated. "We need to take him." "I know," she said. "But look at him." Milo's legs trembled. His eyes stayed fixed on the chair, on the hat, on whatever memory lived there. He sat back down and refused. They canceled the appointment. That night, Emma slept on the couch. She wanted to be near him. The living room smelled like old fabric and clean soap and something faintly metallic, like rain on rails. Milo lay beside the chair, not touching it, not relaxing, Just present. The clock ticked. A car passed outside. Milo's ears lifted, then fell. He made a small sound in his sleep. Not a bark. A breathy whimper. Emma reached out. Her fingers rested on his back. His muscles were tight. She whispered, "You're safe." He exhaled. Long. Heavy. The next morning Jake brought a box. "What are you doing?" Emma asked. "We need to know what's in it." "In the hat." He nodded. "We can't keep guessing." Emma stared at Milo. He was awake. Watching. She walked to him. Knelt. "Milo, we're just going to look." "Okay." His ears angled back. His body stayed still. She moved slowly. Every step felt loud. Jake stood beside her. They reached together. Not touching the hat. Not yet. Milo stood. Not blocking. Not barking. Just standing. Like he was bracing himself. Emma lifted the hat by the brim. Carefully. The inside band was dark. Worn. There was something tucked beneath it. Folded paper. A small plastic card. Emma's breath caught. She set the hat on the floor. Milo leaned forward. Not to stop her. To watch. Jake picked up the paper. It was a discharge slip. From a hospital. 6 years old. Name Thomas Reed. Room number. Date. A note at the bottom. Patient discharged against advice. No family present. Emma's hands trembled. "There's more," Jake said. A laminated card slid out. A therapy dog badge. Expired. Photo Milo. Younger. Thinner. But unmistakable. Her chest tightened. "This was his job," she whispered. Milo made a sound. Soft. Low. Not fear. Recognition. Emma's eyes burned. "He belonged to someone," she said. Jake stared at the card. "And he didn't come back." Silence fell over the room. The hat wasn't just a hat. It was the last thing left behind. Milo walked forward. Slowly. He touched the hat with his nose. Then lay down beside it. Not guarding now. Resting. Like he had finally reached the end of something long. Emma knelt and wrapped her arms around him. "You were waiting," she whispered. Milo's body softened under her hands. For the first time in days he closed his eyes. And in the quiet living room, the chair was no longer just a chair. The hat was no longer just a hat. It was a story. Person. A goodbye that had never been said. And Milo had been holding it. All this time. The paper stayed on the table. No one touched it for a long time. Sunlight moved across it slowly, like it didn't want to interrupt. Emma sat on the floor with Milo's head in her lap. His breathing was deeper now. Not guarded. Not sharp. Just tired. Jake read the discharge slip again. Quietly. Like reading it out loud would wake something. "Thomas Reed," he said at last. 6 years ago. Emma closed her eyes. "That's when we adopted Milo." The timing landed between them. Heavy. Milo shifted his weight. His nose brushed the hat once. Then again. Not sniffing. Just touching. A gentle nudge. Like greeting something familiar. Emma picked up the therapy dog badge. Her fingers traced the faded edges. "He had a job," she said softly. "He went somewhere every day." Jake nodded. "To the hospital." They both looked at the slip again. Discharged against advice. No family present. Emma swallowed. That means no one picked him up. Jake leaned back against the couch. So Milo waited. Silence filled the room. Not empty. Full. Emma remembered the day they met him. How he had sat calmly in the shelter run. How he hadn't jumped or barked. How he had looked patient. Waiting then too. She pressed her hand into his fur. "You didn't leave him," she whispered. "You stayed." Milo's ears tilted back. Not in fear. In something like sadness. That afternoon they drove to the hospital. Not to complain. Not to accuse. Just to ask. The lobby smelled the same as the hat. Clean. Sharp. Human. Milo stayed in the car. Emma didn't think he could handle it. She walked to the desk. "Excuse me," she said. "We found this." She held up the slip. The receptionist squinted. "Thomas Reed, that was a long time ago." "I know," Emma said. "But do you remember him?" The woman hesitated. then nodded slowly. He had a dog. Emma's breath caught. A therapy dog, she said. Yes. Golden retriever. Very calm. Emma closed her eyes. That's him. The receptionist's voice softened. He was in oncology. Jake stiffened. Cancer. Yes, she said gently. Late stage. Emma felt the air leave her lungs. What happened? He left early. Didn't want to die here. Did he go home? The woman shook her head. No address listed. He was alone. Emma's chest ached. And the dog? He asked if the dog could stay while he went to get things. Emma gripped the counter. He didn't come back. No. Jake looked down. So Milo waited. Yes. They left the hospital quietly. The sky outside felt too bright. In the car, Emma whispered. He wasn't guarding a thing. Jake nodded. He was guarding a person. Back home, Milo was awake. Waiting. They knelt in front of him. We know now, Emma said. Milo's eyes searched her face. You were working, she whispered. You were helping him. Milo stood slowly. He walked to the hat. He sniffed it. Longer this time. Then he turned and sat in front of Emma. Not the chair. Her. His tail rested against the floor. Still. But relaxed. Like something inside him had shifted. They kept the hat. Not on the chair. On a shelf. High enough to be safe. Low enough to be remembered. That night Milo ate. Not much. But more than before. He drank water. Then he walked to his bed. For the first time in days. He lay down. Emma watched from the couch. Her heart felt lighter. But also fuller. She imagined Thomas Reed. A man with no family. A room with a view of the parking lot. A dog who came every day. A dog who stayed when everyone else left. The next morning Milo brought the hat to Emma. Not in his mouth. He nudged it with his nose until it slid across the floor. He sat beside it. And waited. She understood. She picked it up. She held it to her chest. Thank you, she whispered. Milo leaned into her knee. Not guarding. Sharing. That afternoon the kids drew a picture. A man in a bed. A dog beside him. A hat on a chair. They taped it to the fridge. Lily said. He was Milo's person first. Emma nodded. And Milo was his family. The truth settled gently into their lives. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just real. Milo didn't stand guard anymore. But sometimes he went to the shelf. He sniffed the hat. He wagged his tail once. And walked away. Because now he knew. The waiting was over. The story had a name. A face. A reason. And the house felt balanced again. Like something lost had been found. Not in the world. But in Milo's heart. The next few days moved more slowly. Not heavy. Not sad. Just thoughtful. Milo returned to his routines. He followed Emma into the kitchen again. He lay near the window in the afternoons. He accepted treats without glancing back at the chair. But something in him had shifted. Not broken. Not weakened. Open. Sometimes when the house was quiet, he went to the shelf. He lifted his nose. He breathed in. Then he sat. Just for a moment. Like he was visiting. Emma watched from the doorway. She didn't interrupt. She let the moment belong to him. That afternoon rain came. Not loud. Not stormy. A soft, steady sound against the windows. The kind that made the world feel smaller and closer. Milo lay on the rug. His eyes were open. But far away. Emma noticed the change in his breathing first. Slower. Deeper. His paws twitched. Once. Then again. She sat beside him. Milo. He didn't respond. Not asleep. Not fully awake. Somewhere between. His ears flicked. His chest rose. A soft sound left his throat. Not a bark. Not a whine. A breath shaped like a memory. Emma didn't touch him. She just stayed. And in the quiet of the rain, Milo began to move. Not his body. His face. His nose lifted slightly. As if smelling something that wasn't there. The living room blurred. Not for Emma. For him. The hospital room came back. The smell of antiseptic and fabric softener. The low beep of machines. The hum of a hallway far away. Milo saw the bed. The thin man inside it. Thomas Reed lay propped against pillows. His skin pale. His eyes tired but warm. He wore the hat. Not on his head. On the chair. Milo sat beside him. Like he always did. Thomas's hand rested on Milo's neck. Not strong. But certain. "Good boy," he whispered. Milo pressed closer. He felt the man's breathing. He felt the change in it. The long pauses. The effort. The smell of fear. Not sharp. Fading. A nurse came in. Her voice soft. "Milo, you need to go now." Thomas shook his head. "Just a minute." Milo stayed. The hat stayed. The room stayed. Then came the moment. Thomas sat up slowly. He reached for the hat. He placed it on the chair. "I'll be right back," he said. Milo watched him leave. The door closed. The hallway swallowed the sound of his steps. Milo waited. Minutes passed. Then hours. Then the world changed. Strangers came in. They touched the bed. They touched the hat. They said words Milo didn't understand. But he smelled it. Loss. He lay beside the chair. He didn't move. Because leaving meant forgetting. And forgetting felt wrong. In the living room, Milo's body shifted. He exhaled deeply. His paws relaxed. Emma felt her chest tighten. She whispered, "It's okay." Milo's eyes opened. Slowly. He lifted his head. He looked at her. Then he stood. He walked to the shelf. He sniffed the hat. Longer than usual. Then he turned away. And came back to Emma. He sat beside her. His body leaned into her leg. Not guarding. Not remembering alone. Sharing. Emma wrapped her arm around him. She rested her cheek against his head. "You don't have to wait anymore," she murmured. Milo's tail moved once. Soft. That night, the family sat together on the couch. Rain tapped the windows. The lights were low. Jake spoke quietly. He didn't just lose someone. Emma nodded. He lost his job. The thing he was trained to do, Lily added. To stay, Noah said. To help. Milo lay at their feet. His eyes half closed. His breathing even. "They rescued each other," Emma whispered. The words settled into the room. Not loud. True. Later, when the house slept, Milo stood up. He walked to the shelf. He sat. He looked at the hat. Not tense. Not urgent. Just present. Then he turned away. And went to his bed. The rain stopped. Morning came pale and clean. Emma found the kids drawing again. A hospital room. A dog. A man smiling. They taped it beside the first picture. 2 moments. 1 story. Milo watched them. His head tilted. Lily knelt beside him. "You were brave," she said. Milo wagged his tail once. Small. Content. That afternoon, Emma took the hat down. She brushed it gently. She placed it back on the shelf. Not like a warning. Like a photo frame. Milo watched. He didn't move. Because he didn't need to. The rescue had already happened. Not in the hospital. Not in the living room. In the space between memory and now. Where loyalty finally met rest. And for the first time since the hat had arrived, Milo slept without watching anything at all. The house felt lighter. Not louder. Not brighter. Just easier to breathe in. Milo moved like himself again. He followed the sound of the refrigerator opening. He nudged Emma's hand when she forgot his evening treat. He lay in the patch of sunlight that shifted across the rug every afternoon. But some mornings he hesitated. He paused near the shelf. Not long. Just long enough to remember. Emma noticed the smallest things. The way his ears tilted back when the mail arrived. The way he sniffed the air after long silences. The way he leaned against her legs when the house felt too still. Healing didn't arrive all at once. Came in pieces. One routine at a time. One walk at a time. One ordinary moment that no longer hurt. They started taking Milo to the park again. Not far. Just around the block. The leaves had begun to fall. They crunched under their shoes. Milo walked slowly. His nose stayed close to the ground. Not searching. Learning. New smells. New paths. New time. Emma watched his tail. It lifted a little higher each day. At the bench near the corner they stopped. Milo sat beside her. Not because he had to, because he wanted to. Emma stroked his back. The wind carried the scent of damp earth and distant cars. You don't have to work anymore, she said softly. Milo blinked. His ears angled toward her voice. She smiled. You can just be a dog now. Milo leaned into her knee. That night Emma dreamed of the hospital. Not in fear. In calm. A room with one bed. A window with weak sunlight. A dog sitting quietly. And a man smiling as if he had finally rested. When she woke, Milo was asleep at the foot of the bed. Not guarding. Just there. Days passed. Then weeks. The hat stayed on the shelf. Not hidden. Not centered. Just present. Sometimes guests noticed it. Why keep an old hat? Mrs. Alvarez asked one afternoon. Emma hesitated. Then said, it belonged to someone Milo loved. Mrs. Alvarez nodded. That's reason enough. Milo lifted his head at the word loved. He wagged his tail once. The kids changed too. They stopped running past the chair. They stopped whispering. They started sitting near Milo when they drew. Lily braided a ribbon and tied it loosely around his collar. For bravery, she said. Milo tolerated it. Then promptly lay down. Noah brought him a book. He read aloud. About animals. About journeys. Milo slept through most of it. But he stayed. Emma noticed the change in herself too. She no longer felt afraid of the quiet. She no longer wondered what Milo was guarding. She knew. And knowing made the silence softer. One afternoon Emma took the hat down again. She brushed it carefully. She cleaned the inside band. She held it up to the light. The felt glowed faintly. Milo watched from across the room. His ears lifted. She waited. He didn't stand. He didn't bark. He didn't move. She walked to him. She knelt. Is it okay? She asked. Milo blinked slowly. She set the hat back on the shelf. And he stayed where he was. The old wound wasn't gone. But it was closed. Like a scar that didn't hurt when touched. That night Emma wrote a letter. Not to the hospital. Not to the shelter. To Thomas Reed. She didn't know where to send it. So she folded it. And placed it beside the hat. Thank you for trusting him, she whispered. Milo lay nearby. His eyes half open. He sighed. A deep content sound. The kind dogs make when they feel safe. The house went to sleep. No one guarded the chair. No one watched the door. Milo curled in his bed. His paws tucked close. And the shelf held a story. Not heavy. Not sharp. Just part of them now. Healing didn't erase the past. It gave it a place to rest. And for Milo, that was enough. Autumn came quietly. Not all at once. But in small signs. Cooler mornings. Longer shadows. Leaves turning the color of old paper. Milo liked the change. He walked a little slower now. He slept a little longer. But his tail still lifted when Emma reached for his leash. They took the long way to the park. Past the bakery. Past the school fence. Past the bench where the wind carried the smell of rain and trees. Milo stopped there one morning. Not suddenly. Not stiffly. He just sat. Emma joined him. They watched people pass. A woman with groceries. A man with a backpack. A child dragging a stick along the fence. Life moving. Ordinary. Good. Emma rested her hand on Milo's back. You've lived a lot of lives, she said quietly. Milo blinked. His ears tilted toward her voice. You helped someone when he was scared, she went on. And then you came here, and helped us. Milo leaned into her leg. Just a little. That afternoon, Emma brought the hat down from the shelf for the last time. She placed it in a clean wooden box. Not hidden. Not sealed. Just kept. She lined it with a soft cloth. She set the folded letter inside. And the old badge. Milo watched from the doorway. He didn't stand. He didn't follow. He stayed where he was. Because he didn't need to guard it anymore. Emma placed the box on the shelf. Higher now. Like a memory meant to be looked at, not feared. That evening the kids sat on the floor with Milo. Lily brushed his fur slowly. Noah held his paws. Was he lonely? Lily asked. Emma thought for a moment. Yes, she said. But not anymore. Milo wagged his tail. Once. Soft. Like he agreed. Later, when the house was dark and quiet, Milo walked to Emma's room. He didn't pause at the shelf. He didn't look back. He climbed onto his bed and curled into himself. A loose circle. A resting shape. The clock ticked. The heater whispered. Outside, a leaf scratched across the window. Milo slept. And for the first time, nothing waited for him in the night. Morning came with pale light and birdsong. Emma found Milo by the door. Tail up. Eyes bright. Ready. They walked together. Past the chair. Past the shelf. Past the place where it had all begun. Outside, the air smelled clean. New. Milo lifted his face to it. And walked forward. Because the past had been honored. The waiting had been answered. And love had found its place. Not in the hat. Not in the chair. But in the quiet space between a dog and the people who chose him. And stayed. Forever.